In today's video, we're going to be approximating square roots, and we're going to dig into seeing what a square root really is, or a radical really is. All right, so we have these numbers here. We have a list of numbers 0 through 12, the integers from 0 through 12, whole numbers, natural numbers. Okay, well, natural would be just 1 through 12. But we have these numbers because we're going to use them to figure out what our perfect squares are. So using our times tables, we're going to figure out the square of each of these numbers. So 0 squared. Now remember, when you square a number, you multiply it by itself. So 0 squared means 0 times 0, which is 0. 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. And I'm going to keep going and just write these all out. And I want you at the end of this to also pause it and write the same diagram on a sheet of paper, because it's really important to have that handy when you're doing these types of problems, or understanding how to simplify square roots. And if you know your times tables through 12, this will be an easy diagram to make. All right. So this list of numbers right here are called my perfect squares. So basically, what squaring, the opposite of squaring a number would be square rooting. So you'll see a little symbol that looks like this, right? The square root sign. This is also called a radical, in case you see another terminology. You might hear me say square root, and you might hear me say radical. So that's the radical symbol. So if I take the square root of 49, I'm asking myself, what times what is 49? That has to be the same number, and that is 7. All right, so the square root of 49 is 7. It's the opposite of squaring a number. Just like the opposite of addition is subtraction, the opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of squaring is taking the square root of 1. All right, so now that we know this, and hopefully you wrote this list of numbers down, okay, this diagram down, we're going to use this to approximate where they lie on the number line. And you can use a calculator to double check to help you, but this table will help you answer the questions on this Delta Math problem. All right, so it says, between which two consecutive whole numbers does the square root of 15 lie? Fill out the sentence below and justify your answer, and use the mouse to drag square root of 15 to an approximately correct location on the number line. So 15, looking back at here, 15 lies in between 9 and 16, a little bit closer to 16, a lot closer to 16 than it is 9. So if I look up and I just go up, that means the square root of 15 is going to be between 3 and 4, a lot closer to 4. All right, so let's take a look back here. So it's going to be between, I'm going to put the answer in, between 3 and 4, because the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 16 is 4. And I'm going to drag it in between 3 and 4, a lot closer to 4. So that's where it's going to be on the number line. Submit it. Yes. Awesome. Next one. Here we go. 65. 65 is going to be between 64 and 81. That means it's going to be between 8 and 9. So it's probably 65 is a lot closer to 8. So it's going to go between 8 and 9, a lot closer to 8. Because the square root of 64 is 8 and the square root of 81 is 9. Bam. Okay. Let's do one more. No. Right here, 40. Okay. Square root of 40. Let's take a look. Square root of 40 is in between 36 and 49. That means if I look up, it's between 6 and 7. 40 is closer to 36 than it is 49. So it's going to be a little bit closer to 6 than it is 7. So I'm going to say, oh, that's a little bit closer. And also, you could double check in the calculator, guys. You could use the calculator, the square root button. So we have 40, and this is the square root button. And you have 6.32s. All right, so maybe I was a little bit off. It could have moved this a little bit closer, but that's another way you can check your answers on here. All right, so it's going to be between 6 and 7 because the square root of 36 is 6 and the square root of 49 is 7. All right, so again, you can also use the calculator to help you. Awesome. All right, so that's how you kind of approximate square roots. Again, it's important you write this diagram down here. You need to write this down to understand, and I would memorize this list of perfect squares, okay? You need to do that, all right? And if you know your times tables, it would be nice and quick to write out. All right. So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you for watching. And always remember, whether you're solving for X or Y, always give math a try.